Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'd like to welcome you to an in-depth look into Barchart's charting library. I'm Mark Water. I'm here with Barchart CTO, Chris Harrison, and we're going to start with a brief introduction to Barchart. Barchart is a leading provider of data services, providing price, company, and alternative data in a variety of different flexible delivery technologies and formats. These include streaming and REST APIs, digital solutions, front-end software, and more. Barchart solutions provide global content to financial, media, and commodity companies, helping deliver a consistent user experience through stable, mature, and well-documented technology. We specialize in developing strong partnerships with our clients to assist in delivering robust solutions tailored to fit their unique needs. And with this, I'll turn it over to Chris to talk about our charting library.
All right, thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Harrison. I'm the CTO of Barchart. First thing I'd like to do is just give you a little bit of history in terms of how the charting library or charting solution came to be. I've been at Barchart roughly 2 years, and one of the very first things that I noticed upon my arrival at Barchart is that we had a really terrible or nasty dependency on an off-the-shelf third-party library. We had all sorts of issues as it relates to performance, functionality, lack thereof. So we did a deep dive essentially in the third-party library that we were using. We checked out other third-party providers, and then after a couple of weeks of internal discussion, we essentially decided to roll our own. So we have literally built a brand new charting library from the ground up over the last year and a half. A couple of core drivers really for the library. One is it had to serve many hosts. So Barchart serves many different markets. We obviously have a very active website with 1.4 unique users plus on a monthly basis. We have a brand new flagship product called Commodity View. We have a number of customers in various vertical markets which actually private label our quotes, charts, news, things of that nature. So we knew whatever we decided to build, it had to be very open, very agnostic, and it had to be able to accommodate many different types of users. One of the other really important things that it had to be was high performance. The previous library that we were using that was off the shelf consumed massive amounts of CPU and memory. We had all sorts of problems in various products that we were using it in. So high performance was right there at the top of the list as well. So next, I'm going to give you just a very high-level sort of technical overview of the library itself. Obviously, if anybody on the phone wants to do a deeper technical dive, feel free to call me or to reach out to Mark directly, and we can schedule those conversations. The library, again, has been built from the ground up. It's written in plain vanilla JavaScript, so we're not using any sort of off-the-shelf frameworks. There's a lot of people out there using React and Angular and Vue and other libraries or frameworks, but it is completely framework independent. It's written in 100% plain vanilla JavaScript, no third-party dependencies. Every line of code is ours. The SDK or the library itself is very small. Right now it's about 300K in size. We're actually looking to trim that a little bit. So I think it's going to get smaller, maybe half the size that it is today. The library is exactly that. It's a library. It's some people refer to it as a software developer's kit. Some people refer to it as an API. All of those terms are sort of becoming synonymous. But the library is what we refer to it as is 100% API based. So I'm going to give you a demo shortly of our interpretation of what good charts look like. But what we're really giving you with the library itself is a blank canvas. So we're giving you a really powerful engine, fully enhanced API with really good documentation, good sample source code, and we're giving you the ability to basically create your own charts using our engine and our framework. As I mentioned previously, one of the core drivers for developing the new library was that it had to be open and agnostic, and what that means in more specific terms is it actually supports the entire Barchart data ecosystem. So anything that rolls through our IT stack as it relates to data can go into these charts, but we also give customers the ability to write parsers or handlers or kits, whatever you want to refer to it as, and allow you to actually plug your own data into the charts as well. As I've mentioned a few times already, but it's important, the charts are easily private labeled, very brandable. Nowhere within the chart itself does it say Barchart. We're giving you a library, and you essentially make the charts as functional and as cosmetically enhanced as you wish. Going on with continuing with the technical overview here, I've already said this, but you can use the framework of your choice. We certainly don't require one, so the library that we give you is written in plain vanilla JavaScript. It's fully asynchronous. There's no blocking. There's no stalling. It's very high performance. We use this exact same library in our new flagship product, which is called Commodity View, which I'll give you a glimpse of that here in a minute. It supports different data types. So it supports real-time streaming data for all of the real-time exchange markets and anything else that could be considered real-time, as well as snapshot data. So if you want to look at end-of-day pricing, or you want to look at something that updates once a month, once every 5 minutes, whatever, we don't care. The library is flexible to handle both data types. We obviously support all modern-day browsers. I mean, 70% of the population is using Chrome, but we support Edge and Firefox as well. And then customer controls 100% of the look and feel. I've got a screenshot here on the right-hand side, which shows a glimpse of what our interpretation of charts look like. But if you wanted to make that look completely different, more functional, less functional, based upon what the API's capabilities are, that's totally up to you. A real quick functional overview. Right now, we have over 100 studies. We've got about 15 to 20 more in the works. We've got 11 different plot types, 35 different annotations or drawing tools. More of those in the works as well. I would guess we'll add, we're adding point and figure now. We're adding a couple of other, I think 3 more plot types. Additional annotations, that number I think will grow quite significantly. We could support any interval or aggregation. So if you want to look at tick data, 1-minute data, 10-second data, 5-minute data, daily, weekly, monthly, continuous, whatever, that's up to you. The library is flexible enough certainly to handle it. We'll support any date range. So if you want to look at data on a 1-day basis, 5-day, monthly, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, totally up to you, all supported through the API. We've recently added support for seasonals and forward curves. So in the ag space and even in the energy space, lots of users are interested in looking at seasonality and what the forward curve market is projecting. So we've recently added those capabilities. And then lastly, in terms of the functional overview, we can execute real-time trading orders. So we execute through CQG right now. There's a couple of other platforms that we're in discussions with, so we will expand the scope of our execution capabilities as well, hopefully at some point here in the future. More functional stuff, basic or complex expressions. So you can type an individual symbol or root into the chart, or you could type something really complex like a crush spread or a crack spread or a spark spread or whatever. Any mathematical formula that you can type into Excel essentially will work here. We support multiple panes, so you can see on the image here that we've got on the right-hand side. There's a pane at the bottom which has volume and open interest, and then there's 3 charts overlaid up at the top. There's multiple y-axis, one on the left, one on the right. All of the basic things that you see in charts today in terms of panning and zooming, we do that, obviously. Dynamic data retrieval, so we have a really efficient and intelligent way in which we grab additional data from our servers. So we essentially grab enough data to fill the screen, and then as the user scrolls, we grab additional chunks of data. All of that's the desire, based around the desire to build something that's high performance. We have event-based support, so we support things in the equities market, such as dividends, stocks, earnings, We also have the capabilities to support custom events as well. So let's say that you had your own news source or something along those lines, and you wanted to inject that as a custom source through the event-based API, you could do that as well. So I'm going to do a live demo, and I'm just going to kind of fly through this pretty quickly rather than go super deep. I will tell you that the demo site is publicly accessible. So if you want to play along now, or if you want to do this in your free time, you can go to demo.barchart.com. That will automatically redirect you to the /chart folder. And you can see everything that I'm going to demo here today online at our demo site. Additionally, we also have documentation for the APIs. So if you replace the word demo with docs, plural, so docs.barchart.com/chart, you can see all of the underlying API docs as well. So for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to, again, go quickly through this. I'm going to go clockwise here, starting in the upper left-hand corner. This is where I can input my symbols. So right now in the demo site, we're defaulting to Microsoft. If I just wanted to put an IBM in place of that, I could do that. If I wanted to look at something else, very quickly, do that as well. If I wanted to look at something in the futures market, so we wanted to look at March corn, I could do that. All of this is real too. There's nothing, there's no smoke and mirrors here. We're not playing any tricks. This is all live data, obviously on a delayed basis because it's publicly accessible. But those data retrieval times that you see as I put in a new symbol or new instrument, all of that's real. We have some cool capabilities in here in terms of the ability to compare symbols. So right now I'm looking at a March corn chart. Let's say I wanted to look at a March wheat chart as well. I could do that. I could change my colors now. Let's go in here. So actually do this. Make that color for wheat a little bit more prevalent. Turn the candlesticks off. Make that a line chart instead for the corn. And there I've got two symbols overlaid. I could overlay 4 instruments, 5 instruments, the entire grain market if I chose to do that. No limitations there. One other thing that I will show you as it relates to the compare feature. A couple of other things here. You have the ability to toggle the axis. You can choose a plot type. You can choose your color. So I could do a compare here, and I've got 2 y-axis, one on the left, one on the right. Studies, as I mentioned, I won't do a real deep dive into that. We've got 100 or so now, I think a little over 100. We're adding 15, 20 more. In the dialog itself here, I've got all of my studies that I can overlay, and then all of my studies that operate on a standalone basis over here on the right. We talked about expressions a little bit, so let's actually just refresh this window. And if I look at expressions, I could type in my own expression here. So this is a front month, second month corn spread. Or I could select from a list of pre-canned expressions that we've got built here. Let's just go ahead and select the corn one, say OK. Now the cool thing about that is most people actually will do spreads in a line format. We actually do them in an open, high, low, close format. So if you want to look at them as candlesticks, I think that's one big benefit in terms of how we do spreads. Aggregation types, I told you that we can support virtually anything. In the demonstration site, we've got tick charts, intraday charts, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. That list could grow quite significantly. Over here on the right-hand side, very quickly, we've got earnings support. So if I've got Microsoft here, I'm just going to turn on dividends, earnings. Actually, I'm still looking at my corn spread, so let's do this. Okay, I've got Microsoft up now. You can see I've got an earnings identifier here. I've got a dividend identifier here, earnings, etc. Pretty self-explanatory. This is also where you would have the capability to inject essentially your custom event. Various plot types here. I think we've got 10 or 11 right now. This list will continue to grow, but you can obviously just go and and click through these. So various types of candlesticks, area charts, Heikin-Aishi, line chart, etc. One other thing that, well, before I get to that, we've got different types of tooltips. So users tend to be pretty picky in terms of how they look at the underlying data on a chart. So we've got various options here. We've got a header option, which shows the data in the upper left-hand corner here. We've got a bubble option, so you can actually bubble over the bar and look at the data that way. We've got a standard option, which is this data view window that I can actually just drag around and reposition wherever I want. And then we've got the option for none. So if you don't want to see any sort of an underlying data view, you can turn that off as well. One thing we did for demonstration purposes, this isn't really part of the library, is that we created the ability to see multiple charts at the same time. So if you choose to go out to the demo site at demo.barchart.com, click this button here and you can set up various different types of displays. Each one of these panes or windows actually will have their own properties too. So if I wanted to change this Microsoft chart here to IBM, instead I can do that. All of the other charts are still Microsoft. Okay. For demonstration purposes, we'll go back to the one-by-one view. This button here is all of my drawing tools. So over on the left-hand side, I think I said we've got about 35 different annotations or drawing tools right now. You can click through those. All of them have their own individual options. So if I draw like a retracement, for example, and then I do a right click on that, it brings up the underlying properties for that retracement. I could change colors, parameters, add additional retracements, things of that nature. Drawing tools will just continue to get more and more enhanced as we build out the library. I can download a chart. So if you're doing a newsletter, you want an email, somebody within your group, whatever, just click the download button, download it. Looks exactly like it is on the screen. Settings option here. So everything basically that's in the plot window, you can adjust all the underlying parameters for it, including plot type, colors, pane size, things of that nature. We've also got two themes here. So yeah, basically a day and a night theme. So you click a single button in the upper right-hand corner, and you go from the nighttime theme to the daytime theme, or vice versa there. Themes can be anything that you want them to be. Bottom right-hand corner here, different scale types. So we support percentage-based, logarithmic. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, all the different ranges. So if we're looking at IBM and we say, you know what, I want to see 5 years of IBM, or I want to see 10 years, I want to see 20 years, etc., with the click of the button, which essentially makes a call to our API, you will display that data on the screen. I want to show you a couple of other use cases and just also reinforce that this demo site that we set up is our interpretation of what we think good charts will look like. We're still making adjustments, still making tweaks, still adding to it. So keep a pulse on it, because I think it will continue to get better and better. But there's other ways to use the chart library, and I just want to show you a couple of quick examples. This is Commodity View. This is our new flagship product that we released about 1.5 years ago. So the charts look very similar here, so very comparable to what we have in the demo site, but I've got 6 charts here. I've got seasonal charts in the bottom left-hand corner here, so you can see how we do seasonal. I've got a basic forward curve chart here of the corn market. Various studies, I've got 3 charts overlaid here. So Commodity View, our flagship product, one of the core reasons why we built this new library, is already taking advantage of it. Barchart.com, another very popular but quite different product or service of Barchart, also leverages the chart library. So you can see these little top. This is the exact same library as what you see here, just being used in a very simple and non-sophisticated way. We have some intraday sparkline charts for all of the major commodity markets across the top of barchart.com here. You can do something even a little bit more sophisticated than that if you wanted those. So we'll click through on the VIX, and you can see that we are using the chart library here as well. So it's a very small little chart, not quite all of the features and functionality that you see in the demo site. The library is really as simple or as sophisticated as what you want to make it. You could even offer packages. So if your customer base, maybe there was a professional version and then a version less than professional, and you wanted to offer 2 different price points with 2 different chart packages, you have the capabilities to do that. You can essentially hide or display features as needed. So what lies ahead? This is a really high priority initiative for Barchart. We will continue to enhance this library, add features to it. We've got full-time developers working on it. This is not sort of a one and done thing for us. The sky is really the limit. I mean, it's our goal essentially to build the best charts in the commodity space. I've already talked about this. We're adding additional studies, annotations, plot types, working on intersection alerts now. So if you want to fire an alert within the chart API as 2 moving averages cross, for example, working on intersection alerts at the moment. All of the studies, the 100 plus that you see currently in the library as of today, are essentially written in our own scripting language, but we're not exposing it. So we don't give you any way to edit the underlying study code. There's no built-in editor into any of our products or into the APIs. So that's something that we're actively working on now. Additional brokers, execution platforms. We've done some really nice stuff as of late in Commodity View as it relates to our execution capabilities through CQG, and we're going to expand that. Obviously, whatever feedback we get from customers, users that are invested in Barchart, we take that feedback very seriously. I have a lot of customers continue to evolve the library based on customer feedback as well. A variety of different ways that the charts can be implemented. I already showed you a couple of different use cases, but one really important factor to remember is that you don't need to use our data. Obviously, that makes it quite easy. It becomes very plug and play in terms of the chart library itself, and our data being working hand in hand makes the sort of the ramp up in the development effort much easier. But if you want to use your own data, and as long as your data is not really exotic and breaks all the traditional molds, we can help you with that as well. Again, everything is API based, which is worth repeating. These are just our interpretations of charts. You can literally use the API, the underlying library, to make the charts whatever you want them to be in terms of colors, in terms of menus, in terms of turning stuff on, turning stuff off. You know, I would say in terms of implementation, we do a better job than anyone else, and it's our goal to jumpstart your efforts. The last thing we're going to do is sell you a library, give you some documentation, and wish you the best of luck. We want to be actively engaged in that process. We want to be there from day one. If you're local, or if we need to fly to you, whatever, we'll do it. It's in our vested interest to make you succeed or to help you succeed. So we will play a very active and hands-on role as it relates to the development process. Use the framework of your choice. There's always lots of technical debate out there in terms of which framework is the best, whether it's React, Angular, Vue.js, whatever. That's up to you. We don't really care. The library itself is written in plain vanilla JavaScript, so we are compatible with essentially everything that's out there. It's transparent, or we're transparent. It's well documented. We're going to keep the demo site out there. The docs are going to stay out there. Everything that we do, we'll just keep updating and making it better and better. I'm going to turn it back over to Mark Water. He's going to get a little bit more into our digital solutions, and then we'll wrap up.
Thank you very much, Chris. So the main use case, why you should use Barchart Digital here. Barchart Digital is going to provide you the tools and let you really focus in on the customer. We created this fully responsive charting system for our own needs and realized that there's need across the industry for something like that. With support across all modern day browsers, you get to deliver a consistent user experience across all your platforms at once. Utilizing the API-based charting library, you quickly implement the best-in-class charting, and that allows for that customer experience to be greatly altered via simple API calls. You kind of saw that, how we're using it across our retail platform to our commodity view platform to also our demo platform. One library, multiple looks, and a consistent user experience. Then the flexible nature of the charting library allows that the implementation across multiple platforms, but also to bring in your own data. Injecting your own proprietary data or third-party data allows you to further expand on the charting that you can give your customers. And the events-driven API, allowing you to inject stories, videos, or other specialized content directly on that chart, brings your most valuable customer experiences directly in front of them on the charting and allowing to see that overlaying where they would see movement in the market. But most importantly, I think what Barchart brings unique to the table for you is with over 20 years experience delivering data and developing technology products across both the B2B and our retail side, we bring a unique collaborative effort into helping our clients succeed in this market. So thank you very much for joining us. We'd like to open this up at this point for a little Q&A with some of our participants. It looks like we have a few questions coming in here already. I think we got one up right now. Someone's asking if we can chart custom spreads, equations, or ratios. Chris?
Yeah, so I think I showed that briefly. So we've got a full-blown expressions parser, I guess, for lack of a better word, built into the charting API. So again, if you want to do something as simple as front month corn minus second month corn, obviously you can do that. Other capabilities to way more sophisticated things, butterflies and crush spreads and crack spreads and anything really that's out there. Anything that you can do in Excel, essentially, we're going to give you the capability to chart it, and we're going to give you the capability to show those charts as open, high, low, close charts rather than just a line chart.
All right. So I know we kind of touched on this one briefly. Another question we had was about demoing the product. You know, we had the demo site we've shown, but Chris could probably touch a little more on a more full-fledged demo.
Yeah, so obviously the demo site out there is publicly accessible. One other thing I want to give a quick plug to, shameless plug, we've got other APIs as well. So we've got the chart API demonstration that's out there, but if you go to demo.barchart.com/portfolio or /watchlist, you'll see some of the other digital capabilities that we're bringing online, some really sophisticated portfolio management tools and watch list tools. In terms of actually getting a hands-on demo, yeah, that's a discussion that you can have with Mark and I on the phone. We'll get you set up with the SDK. We'll, again, help you sort of jumpstart your efforts in terms of getting everything installed and set up. Give you sample source code, whatever you need to make your life easier. And we'll be really, really hands-on in the beginning. So reach out to Mark, reach out to me directly, and we're happy to get a live demo in your own environment going for you.
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback on that, Chris, if you do demo the charting library, please, we're actively looking for people to be part of our product feedback committee on this, and we really appreciate any feedback you can give us on it.
Recently added Rankos, so those are available. You can see those on the chart demo side. If I can go back there very quickly. Again, demo.barchart.com. Got all your different plot types that we're offering right here. Here's a Ranko chart. This plot list is going to grow quite significantly in the coming weeks. You'll see point and figure and another of other things start to show up there. So again, keep a pulse on what we're doing, please.
All right, and it's looking like we have one last one. Someone's asking if we can do Fibonacci retrenchments.
I think that might be a typo. I think it's retracements. Yes, and so we have obviously a number of different drawing tools here. Let me just refresh this here, get us a normal plot. Over here on the left-hand side off of my annotation bar, I can grab the Fibonacci retracement. We snap to highs and lows by default, so you'll see that as I'm actually drawing, it will snap to. that low, that high. You can turn that off, toggle that off in the API if that's not how you want it to work. Then if you want to adjust your underlying parameters for the chart, you can do that here through one of these dialogues. If I want to make the line a little thicker, et cetera, I can do that. Many additional annotations or drawing tools coming in the future as well.
All right, well, that looks like that's all the questions we have. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. If you have any additional questions for us or would like to take a demo, please reach out directly to myself, Mark Water, or Chris. And, like I said, we'd love to have people on the product feedback team and letting us know how to better improve this and deliver the best-in-class product to you. So thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Thank you.